we described about the power of discrimination. The power of discrimination is known as knowledge. It is the Dhyanam through which only the discrimination can be done. And a discrimination to the extent when we say discrimination, it is not, as we already described, it is not only the superficial external discrimination to suit our emotions and conditions, but to the subtle level of everything. The sukshma bhava of each and every molecule. That's called the power of discrimination. External differences, what you are looking is that is only you are finding out the differences in the akara. Finding out differences in the akara or vikara is not discrimination. To discriminate, in the sense, there should be nothing that is not known in that object. Everything from the beginning, that means from the subtle level, everything should be known. Here in material life, what we can understand is only what we see, which is not at all the truth. We try to understand, we try to imagine that what I am seeing is truth. Based on a predetermined, preset emotional pattern, you try to find out differences. There is no technology used in that. There is no knowledge used in that. There is no Dhyanam used in that. There is only ego and emotion that is involved in. A difference that you create from white and black, X and Y, that and this, is only based on your emotional setup, your vikara, that's emotional setup again, and then your status at which you are in, and according to basically the ego, how it functions. You find differences like that, and a decision based on such a decision is taken by you as good and bad. The good and bad that you have found out from the differences of external sharirik, that means akara, through the akara and vikara, has no basis at all, has no truth at all in it. It is only like a bubble of emotion, a bubble created by the ego through the emotion. That's all. Nothing other than that. That is not discrimination here. In a yogi, he doesn't discriminate anything externally. Yogi in the sense, the one who is associated with the Brahman and Brahma Tattva, Brahma Dhyanam. We may think that, it is for yogis, they are all meant for yogis, not for common man. Here, if I understood right what Swamiji wants to tell, that each and every Atma is a yogi. If each and every Atma is a yogi, each and every individual has to be a yogi. And being each and every individual is as a yogi, he has to identify, he has to have the capability, he has to have the knowledge, he has to have the capacity to have the power of discrimination. Then only he is a yogi. Even the normal human being who is only functions based on his emotions, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, and the ego in the mind, he is not a yogi. He is not a yogi with his own Atma. The one who is not a yogi with his own Atma, what is he? What is he? He is just a dead unit. If there is no connection for the Jivatma to the Paramatma, if the mana doesn't have any connection with the Atma, he is a dead person. The mind, as we have explained in the basics of when we started the Upanishad, the mind functions based on the intellect, and the intellect Antakarana functions based on the informations received from the Atma. Even though these informations are received from the Atma, everyone has got his own individual acceptance and non-acceptance depending upon the perseverance, perception capacity of each unit. This is the beauty of it. Atma Jnanam doesn't impose its Jnanam on any of those things. Even the worst emotional individual whose mind is working in an opposite direction of the Atma Tattva or the Brahma Tattva or the Prakriti, even he is supported by the Atma's Shakti. It is an individual supported by anything. It is like suddenly what comes to my mind is that it is like the Dhritarashtra and his throne is supported and protected by Bhishma. An unconditional support. He is bad, he is worse, he is wrong, he does all the cause of yuddha, the cause of adharma, the cause of promotion of adharma from the inception of his son. Vedavyasa told when Duryodhana was born, he cried like a donkey. You know that? His cry was like a donkey's cry. And that chapt.3 shook the whole palace. Vedavyasa said, immediately kill him. Kill that small unit which is going to destroy the universe. Dhritarashtra could not accept it. He knowingly that. So what happened? The throne, no, that's the subject is that, like the mana who has boosted up or bloated up with the ego and vikara, with the ahankara and the vikara, even though he is surviving based on the powers given by the Atma, he is surviving because his activities are needed the power of knowledge. Even to do a wrong thing, he needs knowledge. He needs more knowledge. The one who has to do wrong thing also needs knowledge. But what happened? The man who does wrong, he thinks that with his efficiency he is doing it. Even the right things, what people are doing, they think it is his efficiency that he is doing. All that what needs is that the projection of the Jnanam from the Atma is necessary. When such an Atma on which each and every moment the mind and the emotions are dependent on, the ego is dependent on, he refuses to accept the presence of the Atma. Is that what I was describing about non-association with the Jnanam, non-association with the Atma. Such a unit, if that unit which is provided by the power is not recognizing the power, the source of the power from where it comes, what is he? He is nothing but a dead person. As far as the world is concerned, he is Mrita Sharira, Mrita Atma, we call it, Mrita Atma. There is a term used as Mrita Atma, even though Atma doesn't die. The Jivatma, which is Mrita, equivalent to Mrita is that. Not that Mrita means finished, dead. No. Equivalent to non-functioning. Equivalent to when it comes non-functioning. Mrita Atma, Pretatma, Jivatma, like that, everything is Atma. Preta is not Atma actually. That cannot be, Atma cannot be a Preta. But we call it as Preta Atma because it doesn't have the Sharira. It doesn't have the Sharira and Mana. So the one who doesn't recognize the Atma is that which is a dead, which doesn't have Sharira and Mana. The one who doesn't have Sharira and Mana, we call it as a dead unit. Mrita Sharira. So Sharira, since is not there, so we call it as a Mrita Atma. That which doesn't have the values towards that, which doesn't have the values, the Mana who doesn't have the values of the Atma Tattvam, Atma Jnana. The one, that is why, so what I thought or I think that Swamiji has mentioned, this discrimination as a beautiful word as discrimination is not the small discrimination that anyone who is living beings are doing. Even animals do the discrimination. If that's the case, even the animals find the differences. The animal knows which grass it has to eat, which grass he should not eat. That is only the difference. It is not called as discrimination. It is exactly that what man is doing. It's exactly what the human being is doing. Like the animal who knows, the cow, which knows which grass to be eaten, which grass should not be eaten. Only that identification is done. So a man misunderstands the discrimination as only identification. That too, he doesn't identify. According to his emotions, his ego, his vision, his status, at that moment of time, he temporarily identifies certain things, is misunderstood as discrimination power. Can it be a discrimination power? What is discrimination? Bifurcating thousands of molecules of the matra and matra into divisions of thousands of divisions and find out more of divisions till the time you are unable to divide it. But that not that. Then only you go to the truth. Why he has specifically told that this is how it has to be done, because as I told you earlier in few classes before, to identify Sattva from Purusha, Sattva from the Prakriti and Sattva from the Purusha, it is like dividing a liquid from the liquid. Suppose a milk and water, and it is mixed, separating milk and water. It is like trying identifying, separating, not identifying, separating milk and water once it is mixed. Hamsa Shastram, Hamsam, that's why Ham Saha, that Swan is known as Hamsa. The Ham and the Sa could be identified. The rhythm of Jivatma is two. One is, that is So Ham, that's Ham So. This is the rhythm of Jivatma. The rhythm of Jivatma is like milk and water mixed. And only Hamsa can, only think that in the universe, only Hamsa can just divide milk and water is what is told. I do not know whether the Hamsa does it or not. I am not very sure, but yes, this is what great men have told, that it must be true. The Hamsa only can divide milk from the water, water from the milk, whatever it is. That is Hamsa, that means So and Ham. So and Ham is that the prana that goes in and that goes out is So and Ham. The prana that comes in and goes out is called So, Ham, So, Ham, So. This is called. So identification of that prana, which is the one which is going in and going out, has to be identified, separated. This is what it is. That he is a yogi with the Atma. So each individual, having born from the Atma, having based on the Atma, acquiring powers from the Atma to survive and execute his karma, don't you think that he should be associated with the Atma? If I am getting some power from something, don't you think that I should be associated with that? If I am not associated with that, what happens? I am not, even though I am getting it, I am not accepting the source of power that is being projected to me, or submitted to me, or distributed to me from second to second. Hum so. The division of hum so has to be done. This is called the power of discrimination. This is that yogi can only divide sattva from purusha. Identify, cannot separate. And identify sattva from purusha. Prakriti, sattva from purusha. Can only identify these intricate differences or intricate identification, this absolute identification of the truth. This is called vivekam. Vivekajam jnanam, that power of discrimination is vivekam. The result of the power of discrimination is jnanam. The power of discrimination is vivekam. The power of the result of the vivekam is jnanam. Vivekam jnanam. Cheti vivekajam jnanam. That viveka has to be there. We put names for people, Vivek. We have to put one also in front of that. No? Probably that suits for the normal. Thankless man. Thankless human. He doesn't have any gratitude for that what he is being provided with. Ungrateful person. The gratitude. The one who doesn't have gratitude is ungrateful. No? Why? That you don't recognize the source of everything that you are having is the Atma Jnanam, Brahma Jnanam. The one who doesn't recognize it, the one who doesn't realize it, the one who doesn't perceive that idea, perceive that Jnanam, knowledge, the one who doesn't live in that Jnanam, the one who doesn't live and execute his karmas based on the Jnanam, is what else I can say other than ungrateful. Mudhada. It's called Mudha Buddhi. Man who doesn't have gratefulness. Mudhada. Ajnanam Mudha. Natase with Anandam Chaitanyam. One has to feel, one has to thank, one has to be grateful, one has to be always thanking that great Chaitanyam around, that great Jnanam around, that great Jnana Prakasham around. In each and every activity that I am doing, it is that Jnana Prakasham, it's that Chaitanyam which is directing me, helping me to go. As I told you, it doesn't instruct you. You see, you must take out your life and submit it at the feet of that. The one who keeps on giving jnanam, to that person, he helps him. He provides him with the power. He provides him with the jnanam to that person who refuses to accept him and recognize him. To recognize God, to recognize, to non-recognize, to not to recognize the Jivatma. He gives the powers to the person so that he can use it for not recognizing the one who is a provider. Look at that. It's gratefulness or ungrateful. Who is grateful? Whether you are, even for the power of abusing the God, that power is given by the God, let me put it in that way. In order to abuse and disgrace the Atma, people say that, oh, there is nothing like that. It is karma, whatever I do, I did is that. The one who doesn't recognize that Atmajnanam, Brahmajnanam, that Brahman, that Ishwaratva, that prevalent, from where we are drawing power each and every moment, each and every fraction of a moment, to de-recognize him, also the power is given by him. Who, that's called the egolessness, who doesn't have any expectations from any Jiva or Atma. He doesn't do it. That means which shows that absolute nishkama karma. That's the job is sun. The sunlight is there. People say that the sun is too hot, sun is unbearable. What sort of sun is this, and things like that. Or when sun is not there, there is no sunlight. What? No things abuses and accuses that sunlight without perturbing. Absolutely according to the dharma and the jnanam, every day at a specified time, till the specified time, he provides you light. Whether you accept it, and even for abusing the sunlight gives you the power. Even for abusing the Ishvara gives the power to you. The Nastikas who are not accepting the absolute, the Jnanam, for them also, he is the one who is providing. The Atma Jnanam is the one, Atma is the one which is providing. Paramatma is the one who is providing the Jnanam. This discrimination. When we discriminate that everything that I am doing is based on this Chaitanyam and this Jnanam that is provided to me, this one should be able to discriminate. It's called Dhyanam. It's called Vivekam. If that Vivekam is not there, where is the yoga? Since this Vivekam has to be there, why did I say all this? I started with that. Why a human is called as a, again, yogi, normal human being. A man who is designed to support and identify that it is because of the Atma that is providing the Jnanam, is why I am surviving. He is a yogi, he is born as a yogi, he is dead as a yogi, he is functioning as a yogi, but he doesn't recognize that he is a yogi. That's why he is a yogi. It's not only for that. Whom you identify as a yogi, who is separate from me, I am not that yogi. What you say? You thought. Well, even though it is samyama that brings a yoga, that samyama is supposed to be based on the creation of the human being is based on functioning in samyama and functioning as a yogi in the life. That's why we said, Maharishi Vaishambhayana and Yajnavalkya said that, no, that's why he said that the only brahmachari is supposed to be living as a grihastha. This is the term. That means everyone is a yogi only. Everyone who has recognized that I am the part of that Atma only. I am functioning to release that, liberate that Atma from the karma mukti, is why I am performing my sharira and my mana is only for the purpose of execution. Like I have got 2 hands and 2 legs only to do its job. Like the sharira and mana is like these hands, that they are supposed to do the job, the karma. But yoga is done by the antakarna and mana. They have to identify and discriminate and identify. Matra, tanmatra has to be identified. This capability, the capacity, or this power, this perseverance, this perception is known as power of discrimination, vivekam. That vivekam is jnanam. The one who has identified is known as a jnani, and a jnani is known as a yogi. Layam takes place with the jnana. This is the power of discrimination. These beautiful inherent meanings of the sutra. These things. That's why he said, Sarva Vishayam Sarvata. Sarva Vishayam Sarvata, not Sarvada. It is Sarvata. It's a difference. Sarvada is always. Sarvata, it has, as the practice had been continued. Sarvata. So there is a difference between these two. Okay. So that is what you are supposed to do that. This is what we described, or I thought the last para added to the previous class. 56th Sutra. Maharshi Tapasvi Swamiji says, after knowing all this, now you should be able to understand the meaning of this. Sattva Purushayoho Shuddhi Samye Kaivalyam. Kaivalyam is liberation, we know that. There is an Upanishad in the name of Kaivalya, Kaivalya Upanishad. So it is not Kaivalyam, liberation. So only one word, Kaivalya. Kaivalya is one Upanishad. Liberation is not just liberating from you, from some thoughts, some karma, some mukti from karma, some thoughts, some pravati, some vikara, some akara. Is not the Kaivalya. Kaivalya is that liberation of the Atma. Entrapped Atma in the karmic, in the Jivatma. He has to constantly keep on advising this Asura. As I told you about the great Tapasvi, the great Maharshi, Shukracharya. Your Atma is doing that Shukracharya's job. He has been assigned to do that. Even though reluctant, even though most ungrateful job, it is being done. Shukracharya had been doing most ungrateful job because these asuras used to abuse him, accuse him, Shukracharya. But his Guru, Bhagavan Shiv, is Ajna. He said that it is his Ajna. It is his we can call it as instruction. We can call it as Adesha. It is the Adesha of Guru that Shukracharya has to advise these people who will never understand. At least guide them towards the limit of understanding. At least make them understand because of your understanding you will destroy yourself. At least to that extent, keep on doing it, keep on doing it. And one day, God says that also will change. It's not like others that the Guru has explained to the disciples. Disciples are transformed like Valmiki has transformed Lava and Kush to great personalities. See? So there is a satisfaction for Guru. egoistic satisfaction. Or the result is already achieved. Dronacharya has trained all them, proud of being called as a guru of Arjuna, guru of Kaivalya. Proud of calling himself to do that. Yes. These things are there on one side. On the other side, only abuses being brought by the great Maharshi, the great Tapasvi Shukracharya, who still with all Ananya Bhavena, without any doubt in his mind, Ananya Bhavena, with Nishkama Shakti, Nishkama Karma, yes, prays to Lord, respects the Lord, pays his due respects to him. That whatever I said. He is not blaming him. Hey Bhagavan, what did you do? What assignment have you given me? The most dirtiest job in the world. No. Most efficient man is only given the most difficult job. You should understand that. Easy job can be distributed to anybody, is it not? The most difficult job is given to only the most efficient man. That is what Shukracharya. Atma has been told to do this, like Shukracharya has been told by the Ishvara. Atma has been told to do this to the Jivatma, to show the way. Thousands, sometimes some people take Janma for how many? 84 lakhs we say. Numerous Janmas. Till that time this Jivatma is entrapped, let me call it that way. Entrapped to guide him, to direct him, to give him powers, to give him power to do wrong. No? Anyaya. To do Anyaya, he has to give the power. He has to give the Dhyanam also. And then he does the Dhyanam. Then he has to keep on doing that. That entrapped Atma should be liberated is called Kaivalya liberation. You understand? When can this Atma be liberated? Only when the Jivatma get the mukti, karma mukti, that's all. Till then it keeps on. Who can give the Kaivalya? Who can give the freedom? Who can give the enshacklement of that? Who can release him from the entanglement of that? He is the power. That's why the power of discrimination. The yogi. You have to become a yogi. You have to become a brahmachari. Each and every moment, each and every kshana should not be missed from that. Constantly from linking from one droplet to the other droplet, like the continuous water flows, connecting itself from droplets to each other without identifying itself as separate, but they are all individual kanika, no? Each kanika, each separate droplets. Like that, each and every moment, each and every kshana is not moment, you understand the moment, kshana. Each and every bifurcation of that is. Each and every kshana should be lived in the brahmacharya. Then only the true execution of karmas are possible. The true execution of karmas are possible. The true liberation can be given to the Atma. This is the importance of acquiring to becoming the Brahmajnani, acquiring the Dhyanam, understanding the Dhyanam, perceiving the Dhyanam, and living in that, practicing in that, Vivekam through Viveka. Susattva Purushayoho, Shuddhi Same Kaivalyam. From there only it all started. Kaivalyam. They are supposed to give. It is not an option. It's not a choice. I will release the Atma or not. Like the prana cannot be held by you according to your choice. at one point of time the prana will leave the sharira. It doesn't require the permission of the sharira or mana to leave, does it? Why he doesn't require them? The ego at that point of time, does prana takes the permission of the ego? Oh, please don't release me. Emotions, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, entangled in that and sunk in that. Does it come? Does the prana come and say that please release me from you? No. The day it is unbearable, the day it is beyond, the day it is time allotted is finished. Everyone's karmas or everyone's jiva has been given a time. Time in the sense, limitations. It cannot be going anantam. It has to have a change, a revolution, an evolution. Both have to take place. When it has to take place, it has to be time bound. We call it as time bound. Even though the time is only for when one is born and one is executing karma till the death of the sharira and mana, only the calculation of the time is there. Samaya or time, kala. Kala is only to that extent. That's called kala. Kala is not connected with anything, any of the function of the Purusha or Prakriti. Kala is not connected with any of the function of the Atma. Doesn't have any Kala. Doesn't have any gunas. Doesn't have any Kala. So the Trikala, what we call as that, is only for those who are born and who are dying. Only for those who are the things that is born and dying. Only for them the Kala is there. Otherwise there is no Kala. For the sun is there a Kala? For moon is there a Kala? For any other planetary system is there a Kala? For wind there is a Kala? Water there is Kala? No. Kala is only for that who are limiting themselves into the functionaries to function for the purpose of liberation is called samaya or kala. One who is limiting themselves to the functionaries for the function of liberation from the limitations or from the functionaries is called the kala. It's called time. So who created the time? You, for your convenience, for your barrier, your permission, you did that. Prana is not connected with that at all because it is only giving you the power. At the point of time when it says that no more this can function, or this more is no more necessary this to function, or this is not functioning as designed, or this is functioning in different ways. So when a limit comes to that, the limitation that has been provided by the birth, while being born by each individual, he designs the kala for him, how long he should survive, what are the karmas he is supposed to do, what are the karmas he is supposed to undergo, what are the pravartis there, the kashta or dukkha or struggling or enjoying or nothing, none of these descriptions are not at all applicable for the Atma who decides to take birth in the Jivatma for performing and executing and exhausting the karmas. Everything for him is an experience, that's all. Through this experience, he has to fulfill the requirement of that's why I said functionaries. In order to limit itself with the functionaries for the function, these functions have to be executed in that. So he determines, for this I need only so much of time or so much of chana. This chana matra, I will execute all these things and liberate myself to another functionary or function or to have layam. This decision is taken by the Jivatma before taking birth. So according to that, having taken the birth by the Jivatma for the purpose of a particular cause or a few multiple causes for particular one cause or few particular causes. Once it is fulfilled and finished, and it has to exhaust. It has to exhaust. That's pre-programmed, predetermined, pre-designed. It has to exhaust. Water, after boiling 100 degrees centigrade, keeping on that, it has to evaporate. Do you have to tell the water now the temperature is 100 degree thermometer wise? So now you start evaporating. Do you have to tell that? No. Does the evaporation take the permission of the water or the temperature that can I evaporate now? Just telling an example. Prana is that. Prana, when it finds that this has reached certain results according to that, without anybody's permission, it starts evaporating. It goes off. Why? It doesn't require any. The Sharira and Mana requires permission from the Prana. Prana doesn't require the other way around. We to function or to do something, to do a karma, to even to dream, we have to draw power from that Prana, from that karma, from that Atma, so that we can even think. Even to abuse, as I said, even to abuse that Prana, even to abuse that Atma. Kaise Atma hai ye? बोलते हैं ना लोग. ये क्या जन्म है ये इसका? ये कैसे जन्म है? You are abusing the Atma only. कैसा जन्म है इसका? Abusing the Atma. कैसा जन्म है? You all call that no Papa karma after doing. कैसे कैसे पाप कर्म करके दिया है, इसलिए इसको आजकल हो रहा है. Some sort of comparison is done. कर्म में पाप पुण्य. Is it there discriminating papa and punya? Yes, this papa and punya has been identified only based on that which should not be executed by that Jivatma in that life, in that pattern of design, according to his own designation and design that he has prescribed. When he does that, he calls it as papa. That what he has designed according to the design, according to the intention, according to the purpose, according to the causes. That's why it is known as causal body, karana sharira. According to, based on that principle, if he is functioning, he is a punyatma. He does gunas, he does punya, so punyatma. Who is a punyatma? Who is a papatma? There is no papa and punya that precondition to the atma. No, atma is atma. And Atma is not with the preposition of Papa and Punya. No. Papa has been done by the Jivatma going against the purpose of doing it. Suppose somebody, just example, somebody who is supposed to live for the purpose of distributing Dhyanam to others, he suddenly becomes greedy, he becomes a dacoit, or he becomes an underworld king and earns wealth and enjoys it. He is totally against his karma that has been assigned by him for him. He is a papa karma, we call it as papa. If he has pre-designed it, then it's punya karma. He is releasing, he is getting rid of certain karma palas from him. Yes. We cannot, normal human being cannot identify and certain things as papa and punya. That's why I used to tell in my previous classes and all that. Even a butcher is doing his karma. From that he understands, he realizes he is supposed to get that realized because he has done so much of karmas that which he has to identify. From this he has to, that what we call it as hina karma, that we call it as papa karma, that we call it as a hina karma, a nicha karma, that killing so many animals a day. How can a man with consciousness and with this can do? Can other normal man do it? No, he will go mad. He can't even kill one. He will go mad. But he can do it. That capability has been given to him. That Shakti, as I told you, even to kill, it is the Atma who gives the powers to that. He is also like you and me. How is he doing it? Without any reluctance, very happily. He has to happily do it and finish his karma. At a point of time, he gets his relief from that. He gets out of it. As it has been told in the Puranas, even the Kauravas, after the Mahabharata Yuddha was over, it's a saying, including Duryodhana, Karna, Dushasana, whom we identified as most adharmi characters here, they also have gone into Swarga, they called it. They found everybody is seated in Swarga. When Yudhishthira went there, before naturally they all went early, so they got seats reserved. Before then, at last only Yudhishthira goes. Before Yudhishthira goes, all these people are already there. So when there is a saying that when Yudhishthira went there, when he saw that, he was surprised. Then he asked Bhagavan, how are they here? Why not? Well, that's another story. We'll go on at that time. How they can get it, this is what I said. Karma is not according to your perception that it has to be done. Whether killing an animal or teaching a student or becoming a guru or becoming that, becoming this. Or doing punya karma, charity, puja, tirthasthala visit. We all consider them as nothing wrong. They are all punya karmas, no doubt. Your Jivan, the Jivatma, should be spending its time, limited time, only for executing the karmas according to dharmam, according to designation. And you should remember one thing. When the Atma decides to take birth, it is in a different plane. It is in the higher consciousness. From the higher consciousness, it comes to lower consciousness to experience certain things, fulfill it, and then attain the higher consciousness. So when a decision is taken at a higher consciousness, in a different plane, at a different situation, without any entanglement of this bandhana and these attractions and attachments, what is he going to experience in this worldly matters or world, then he has taken a decision that I should be doing this karma. You should remember that. Not seeing these conditions, he has designed a karma. No. He has designed a karma to liberate him. That's all. So for that he said, I must, let me do, sometimes he said, somehow or other, let me finish, I will work for 18 hours and finish my job and come out of it. So that I don't have to do. This is what we feel. Same thing it also feels, let me finish my karma somehow and get liberated and come out. So he takes the most difficult path sometimes. Suppose somebody says that, no, you can, by doing this easy thing, you will take 100 years. But if you do this difficult thing, it will take only 10 years. An Atma who is there in the higher consciousness will invariably choose the 10 years instead of 100 years. And this 10 years, but as I told you, even Vikramaditya had the Shani Dasha. Remember? So the Devatas told, Ashwini Kumaras told him that God, the Maharishi, Agastya, has told, let me put it that way, told him that, look, 7.5 years is 7.5 years. You have to understand. It's a story. Well, principles we have to understand. Connected with this. Vikramaditya said, no, see, can you not? You know me, Vikramaditya. How can I be abstaining myself from the service that I am doing to the people? 7.5 years is a long time. Reduce it to 2 years or 3 years. Bhagavan said, yes, you can reduce your time, but the intensity of that, concentrate. This will be diluted and this is concentrated. In that 3 years, you have to experience the 7.5 years. So you can imagine. You won't have breathing time. In our terms, breathing time. That is the way. Vikramaditya said, fine, yes, Atma, he is a Punyatma. I have no problem, I will accept it. I don't want anything else. Let me use that. Okay, 3 years, sanctioned. After sanctioning, he became small and then went hidden. The story says he went and hid himself in a drainage outlet pipe, main outlet pipe from the palace. Huge palace, Vikramaditya's palace. The main outlet pipe he goes and hides inside so that nobody can see him, nothing can affect him, and he will undergo that, he'll sit there and meditate and 3.5 years will pass off. Is what he thought. He went and hid there. And he filled that pipe, actually. The size of his was that he filled the pipe. There was rains, heavy rains that year. Blocked. Drainage is not clearing. Underground clearing. Whole palace never happened. Water entered into the palace. All flooded. The sevaks, the soldiers, they looked for cause. They found that this is blocked. So he started poking from this side. So he will escape and he'll come here. They started then. After that they found that this is not clearing. So from that, so they said that from both the sides let us poke. 3.5 years they poked. No, from both the sides. He's what they say. This is what it said. Now you can imagine 3.5 years from the arrows getting that this one for 7.5 years. This one. So there is a story in Vikramaditya like that. Small story for children we say. But the principle to understand from that is that, look, this is the thing. That what has been designed, when you want to reduce it and when you want to do it untimely, or when you want to do it, or do it faster and do this one like that, somewhere we may make them understand, there are certain things which has to happen at its own time. Now you cannot prepone it, let me do it faster and get it done. No, it's not possible. So same way, Kaivalya, liberation from that, to have that, invariably the Atma chooses the short path. In the sense, let me have maximum troubles and get me relieved of it. That's all. Like Vikramaditya did. Most of the Jivatmas will select that. Once we come, we forget about it. So the Kashta and Dukkha comes, we start grumbling. You have designed it. Vikramaditya is from both sides. This has to happen. Better to finish it gracefully than come out of it. Kaivalya. So just telling these examples only to make you understand. The purpose of Kaivalya is what we are born for, is what I am trying to tell that. You have designed the time. The Samaya, Kala is only concerned. Who has got the Samaya and Kala? Only for human beings. For none there is Samaya and Kala. None. So the human being has been assigned with the karma and karma bala, because human being only does the karma which acquires the karma bala. And that karma bala is the one which is the cause of rebirth. So for that, Kaivalyam. So Kaivalyam is that what is required. Association with the Atma only can get us to know what I am supposed to do, what I am supposed to speak, what I am supposed to hear. Some people are there. I used to tell this story in Greek classes. This is an old proverb in our place. Most of the people there know that. Some people are there. An example for the karma. There was an uncle and there was a nephew. So the uncle used to want to make this nephew a good boy. He doesn't do things properly. He will not keep up timing. He will always have all sorts of activities that is not fitting to the society. All that. So uncle decided that he should. So he used to give him jobs. Go and do this and come back. Go and do this and come back. Every day he gave him 10 jobs, 20 jobs. But none were fulfilled. He didn't do anything. Every time he failed. He came back, but he kept on trying. The uncle kept on trying. Finally, he got fed up with this man, with this boy. So he took a cane and started beating him. Initially, he just kept quiet, let him beat. That also, he doesn't stop. Kept on beating. Then the uncle himself got fed up. I am beating him so much and he doesn't tell anything. Then he stopped beating them. Tell something at least now. He said, don't unnecessarily waste your energy. I will not become good. You don't waste your energy. I will not become good. Some people are like that. Even though the capacity or the capability to have the yoga with the Atma is given, even then, he will say, no. I would like to take another, at least out of 84 lakhs, at least let me take 1 lakh janmas. Then I will fulfill my requirements. This is what some people say. Any amount of telling, they will not listen. You have seen that? Some people are there. Any amount of satsang, any amount of studies, any amount of advice, any amount of good advices, they all say that, they are all very good. What you are talking is all good. I don't waste your energy. I will not become a yogi. Is what he says to the Guru. No? There are people like that. After even constantly, you must be knowing, of course, definitely. These are all not new things. Any amount of learning, any amount of advices, any amount of blessings, he doesn't become alright. Duryodhana, after having all that blessings from all the people, from everything, he has not become alright. He has antagonized all the sadhus, saints and sannyasis who cursed them. Sattva purushayoho shuddhi samye Kaivalya is attained when there is equality between sattva and purusha. When there is equality between sattva purusha, between sattva and purusha. Sattva purushayoho shuddhi samye, that means the purity. Shuddhi samye. Liberation takes place when the mind has the same purity as the Purusha itself. Shuddhi samyata. Shuddhi samanata. Samyata means samanata. Shuddhi samyata should be there. This is called brahmacharya. What is Shuddhi samyata? How to get Shuddhi samyata? Brahmacharya. The purified mind recognizes its nature. The purified mind, after purification, after samyama, after identification, after being the brahmachari, the Kaivalya is understood by the mind, the purified mind recognizes its nature as Purusha, it becomes the Purusha. When the mind is totally associated, totally surrendered, totally absorbed in the Ishwaratva, Bhagavad he becomes Bhagavan, he becomes Ishwara. The essence of this nature is, has and always has been, bliss, freedom, peace, self-sufficiency and perfection. The attainment of what? After all this purification, what do you achieve? You achieve, the essence of this has been the bliss of the mind. That means Anandam. Bhagavad Sakshatkaram gives the Paramanandam which cannot be explained. It's called bliss, freedom. Freedom, I told you what is called freedom. Swatantrata from everything. Shanti, Shantam, Shanti is self-sufficiency. I have everything because I am the Brahman. Self-sufficiency. There is nothing that I need. There is no scarcity. You never feel the scarcity. That is not there, this is not there. Everything is there. This all come only when we start living as the Brahmacharita, because everything that is necessary for you is provided and will be provided. Only the recognition of those things relating to your karmas have to be identified. Today what you have, you are unable to relate it with your karma. The day you will, the time you will be able to relate that what you have got, to relate with your karma and with your execution, with your brahmacharya, you will be able to appreciate that what you have got. And that what you have got is everything. And you should remember that what you can get, it's a big principle that what you have got is not a small thing. Don't underestimate it. Not that I got a glass, I got a money, I got this, I got that. No, and we are not talking. Getting something in the sense what? When you get something, that you should be in a position to use it for execution of your karmas and liberate yourself. Jivan Mukti has to be attained through that particular, that what you have got. What is that which can give you Jivan Mukti? What is that out of this? What is that which can give you bliss? What is that bliss? Is that Anandam? What is that give you? What is that which can give you freedom? Kaivalya. What is that which can give you Shantata to the mana? Shanti, non-agitative status of mind. Peace is Shanti. That's called Shantata. Shantata is not that keeping quiet, closing your eyes and keeping quiet, or non-involvement in anything else. Is not Shanti. No, शांति से बैठा हुआ है, काम ही नहीं कर रहा है. हम लोग यही बोलते हैं ना, शांति से बैठा हुआ है, काम नहीं कर रहा है. That is not Shanti. That's not Shantata. Avoiding non-involvement into the karma is not Shantata. Shantata is that involvement in the karma and be happy with that and not enjoying the results of it is called the Shantata. So that the mind doesn't have an expectation, doesn't have ego of having fulfilled something, doesn't have expectation and ego, and doesn't have the pride of that, doesn't enjoy the results of that karma. At that moment of time, the mana is in peace. Mana is at Shanti, man is at Shanti, mind is at peace. Self-sufficiency, as I told you, that what you want to, who can give you self-sufficiency is that whatever is given to have, I have, it is plenty for me. This self-sufficiency, this peace, this freedom, and then perfection. Perfection is that. And he also said, and perfection. What is perfection? To be perfect. Perfect is what? What is perfection? Perfection is that when I do, let us say in our normal language, when I do something as it has been designed for, we call it as perfect. This perfection of material being is different from each individual to another individual. Somebody takes the specs and keep it on the table is perfection for him. Somebody takes it and throws it on the floor is perfect for him. Somebody keeps something somewhere and somebody does something in a particular manner is perfection for him. According to me, that is perfection. Yes. According to your imagination or your egoistic and emotional requirements, something is done, it is perfection. Okay? It's not. Somebody has got a loose clothing to wear, say they said, perfect for me. Somebody that wants tight clothes, then only for him, this is not perfection. But for the other person, this is perfection. So for each individual, the perfection is different. It's not what we are talking about, the perfection. You understood? Even though the meaning of perfection is inherent in that also, that depending upon each individual's requirement, if something is done according to that, he says it is perfect. Or depending upon the result, whatever is achieved, your expectations are there, the result is there. According to that, if something is done, you say it is perfect. Somebody says, no, if you keep it like this, it is perfect. Somebody says, no, keep it leaning on the wall, it is perfect, so that it doesn't fall. Now, perfection has different meanings depending upon the requirements in the material world, or according to our own emotion, we call it as perfection. What is perfection? Who is perfect? There is also a saying, who is perfect? No one is perfect. We also say that, isn't it? On one side we say perfection, we specify perfections, we have standardization of perfections. On the other side we say that nothing is perfect, no one is perfect. When it comes to that, why did you do that? No, why did you do that? He has got this minus point, this minus point, this. No one is perfect. No one is perfect. You understand? We say it also. So no one is perfect. But he says, you can attain perfection. And we'll say, everyone is perfect. How can you gain all this? You can gain all this only through the Dhyanam, the power of discrimination. Layam in the Brahma. Through that brahmacharyatva, you can attain all this. How? Orienting your mind towards that brahmajnanam of the self-sufficiency, or the freedom, liberation, or the bliss. Get the ashirvad from the great noble souls. Great, that is very necessary, so that will give you a strength to make your mind direct to the way you have to live, not you want to live. You want to live according to your emotional requirements, but how to live has to be inculcated into your system. This can be done only through the blessing. And in order to have the blessing, you have to have samarpanam, upasana, nidhyasana. It's called how brahmacharyatva is. This also brahmacharya. So through that brahmacharyatva only you will attain the jnanam, and that jnanam will provide you all these in one stroke. You say, no? All in one stroke. All in one moment. All at the same time. Not at different times. At the same time everything happens. Everything, the bliss, freedom, peace, self-sufficiency and perfection. What else do you need? What else do you need now? We are struggling all for this only. Each and every moment we are struggling for all this self-sufficiency. no self, there is no sufficiency, there is only efficiency and inefficiency. Peace. That I want. The eyes. The mind which is Shanta will acquire Shanti. The mana that stays in Shant have Shanti. Non-agitative status of mind. Neither too much of pleasure should make you excited, nor too much of sadness make you worried. Arjuna Vishada Yoga is an example for that. Bhagavad Gita's Karma Yoga is that Bhagavad Gita is about Karma Yoga. So Arjuna Vishada Yoga is the true lesson for human beings to understand, not read. Everybody reads Gita. Okay, so these are the things what you attain. This is called liberation, and this is called Kaivalya. So Sattva Purusha Yoga Shuddhi Samye. Samyam, equivalent to Purusha. Your mind should be as Shuddha as the Atma, which is Purusha. As Shuddha as the Atma. Shuddha Atma. Shuddha Prakriti. We call these things. These qualifications we assign to people. Shuddha Prakriti hai. Shuddha Prakriti. Shanta Prakriti. Shuddha Prakriti. All these things we see. Shuddha Prakriti. Shuddhata equivalent to that. Shantam equivalent to that. So this mind has to be, that's what yogi, that's why Bhagavan said it's yogi. Mind has to be associated, totally associated. Be diluted into the Atma, Brahma Tattva, Brahma Dhyanam. For that, Dhyanam is necessary, power of discrimination is necessary, tapasya is necessary, samarpana, upasana, tityasana. These are methods, various methods provided, various ways depending upon your capacity. You can do any of these things and then you will attain that, is what Bhagavan says. And with this, the third chapter of this is finished. Chapter 56 slokas in third chapter. The fourth chapter is liberation. Kaivalya, we said no. What is Kaivalya? He is telling us. Or how Kaivalya can be attained in a practical way. At least let us listen to that. Shambho Mahadev.